Today's message is many voices, one song. And I want you to think about that. I want to start first with the one song part. And those of you that come regularly, you know that I have kind of a love affair with Rumi, the 13th century mystical poet. I love him. I love his passion for life. I love that he focuses on love and peace. And he puts spirit first, of all importance, spirit, this journey. Now, Rumi is an evolutionary thinker. I really think he's a religious scientist. Of course, he was born quite a few years before this teaching became prevalent, but I think it's the one mind deal. He believes in the evolution of species, and he says we all start. You can't even give it a name. It's the one. We all start from there. And then he calls it a process of devolution, where we separate, we become individual expressions of that one. Does it sound familiar? A little bit familiar of what we teach? We become this individualized expression. And so the devolution is when we separate from God and we become our individual expressions of the one. And then from that place, when our vibration is the lowest and the densest, we take that journey back to God. And that's when we remember who we are. You can keep going away, and you can tell if your life is filled with hopelessness. If you can't find your way, it's time to turn to look to Spirit. And he said once we get to the place we're moving towards God, our journey is to travel in God. And he says, my soul is from elsewhere. I'm sure of that. And I intend to end up there. For all of us, we'll all end up in that place of oneness. It's how we make the journey from our place of separation, of individuation, to the oneness again. How do we sing that one song, which is oneness? It's love, it's unity. It's the song of God that's in all of our hearts. We have to make sure that we learn the words, because some of us have forgotten the words, and we're singing the wrong words. And we sing the wrong words, we're separating from that goodness that is actually pulling us to reignite, reunify with the one. Rumi said, as we believe, there's many levels, many progressions on this journey of evolution. And he said, which I really like this part, he said, I think the closest level of evolution to our human state, our next closest step, would be angel-like. Don't you love that? So we can look forward to being angels, either here on earth or in our next expression. So I want to think about that journey and where we are and the vibration we hold and the words we're using in this song that we all sing, because it's our heart that knows the song of oneness. So our intellect can be telling us certain things, but if we want to sing these words of oneness, it's looking to our heart. And I want to share a poem that Rumi wrote called One Song. And he said, every war, every conflict between human beings has happened because of some disagreement about names. Some disagreement about names. It is such an unnecessary foolishness. Just beyond the arguing, there is a long table of companionship. A long table of companionship set and waiting for us to sit down. What is praised is one. Can you feel that connection when we praise something in love, appreciation, compassion? What is praised is one. Therefore, the praise is one too. So when we look at life in love and appreciation, we are building that consciousness of oneness. He goes on to say, many jugs being poured into a huge basin. All religions, all this singing, just one song. All differences are just illusions and vanity. Sunlight looks a little different here on this wall as it does on that wall, and looks a whole lot different on that wall. There are different lamps. The lamps are different, but the light is the same. The lamps are different, but the light is the same. And that's what I want us to remember today, that we all have these beautiful expressions of the one, and we've come in a perfect package, and we're here to be the expression of light. But some of us sing the wrong song, the wrong words. And if we're singing about us versus them, about duality, about judgment, we're moving the wrong way. We've got our back turned on the one, on the light, on the goodness. Now, if we're singing the song of judgment, the worst judgment we can have is judgment of ourselves. We're all works in progress, at least I am. Is anybody else a work in progress? We're all working. We're working to be our best person. Kirk, can we turn, this thing is talking back to me. I've never heard that before, but it's kind of creepy. Thank you. So if we're singing about judgment, talking about judgment, which to ourselves is the worst, because, our whole life is about a reflection of how we evaluate ourselves. We can't forgive someone else really until we've forgiven ourselves. If we're judging ourselves, we can't completely accept anyone else because we're looking through those eyes. We're looking through the eyes of judgment. Jesus got this. Jesus was a mystical teacher too, as you sang so beautifully about this morning, James. Judge not, lest ye be judged. He knew that this judgment, when we see life, when you're looking through the eyes of judgment, you're just seeing fragments of people and situations. And when we see fragments of things, we can't possibly see the divinity and the wholeness that exists in everything. In everything. I remember when I used to drive the teens, and we didn't have a teen group at that time like our teen group, and there were enough to fit in my car. But when we used to drive to teen camp, the kids would sing, it was 6 hours to get there. And they'd sing this song over and over and over again. And you'd think I'd want to shoot them after that, but I didn't, because this was the song. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing I need to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. That was the first verse. The second verse, I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. Because when I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your tears, your rage and fears, I see your shining star. Because I love you just the way you are. Verse 3. Because you see how this grows. I love the world the way it is. Because I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. There's a fourth verse too, but I'll save you from that. It basically says, it's the thing of evolution, it says, yeah, I love myself, but still I want to grow because there's more to life. So, 6 hours of that, you kind of get the picture. So I want us to be sure that when we're in this place of judgment, we realize that what we're judging is how we're feeling about ourselves. So if we're going to sing a song of oneness, we've got to be starting by singing that first part of our prayer treatment. God is all there is, and the second step, I am one with the one. Because we need to realize on this evolutionary track, we're moving in the directions of our thoughts, our words, our intentions. And we'll get there when we start singing the right song. So what are the words we need to be using? Well, first of all, if we feel in our own hearts and our own minds blame, judgment, criticism, guilt, any of those things, there's some adjustment that needs to be made. Would you agree with that? We've got to start adjusting. So it begins with awareness. Yep, I'm blaming life. We all do that. We fall in the rut. And yep, I'm feeling judgmental. Yep, I'm doing that. And it's not about being hard on ourselves. There's adjustments we need to make in order for us to see with new eyes. And I'll tell you what Joseph Campbell said. He said, the purpose of our life and every life is compassion. Compassion. And what does compassion mean? Compassion really is a way of looking at the world where you can see either people or things in distress and you want to make them better. You want to be there as a beneficial presence. You want to be a vibration that's higher than the problem. Compassion is when you see someone and you want to connect. You want to be there. You want to listen. You care. That's what compassion is all about. Compassion is simply a way of opening yourself to feel more completely. Rumi has a poem, and he said, you know, when you live in this world, remember, spirit is first. And he always said, if we're going to live in this world, we have to feel completely. Not just some of the things. Our feelings are barometers to tell us how we're doing. They change all the time. Our feelings are just barometers telling us where to be and what to do and what we're looking at, if our focus right, if we need an adjustment, just telling us that. But Rumi said, I love this part, he said, you have been walking on the ocean's edge, holding up your robes to keep them dry. Not fully participating in life. Just walking on the edge, not wanting to get too wet. You know what I mean? You don't want to get too wet. Walking on the ocean's edge, holding up your robe to keep yourself dry so you don't have to get too immersed in all of that. He said, take off that robe. Take off the robe. He said, you should dive naked, under and deeper, 1,000 times deeper. Because what you'll find there, that's where love flows. If we're willing to go through the feelings of what this life has to offer us, that we can open, expand ourselves, that's where love flows. And he goes on to say, open deeply and listen, and there you'll hear the song of oneness. At that place, you will hear the song of oneness. So I'm going to ask you, in this journey of life, how are you? Where do you feel? Do you feel the light most of the time? Do you feel in the darkness? Because there is an old Hasidic tale that talks of a rabbi who said to his disciples, well, tell me where God exists. And they looked at the rabbi like he was nuts. Where does God exist? Everywhere, they said. And he said, no. God only exists where you let God in. God only exists when you open to it. Rumi said, don't go searching for love. Search for all the walls you've built against it. So today I'd really like you to think, when do you feel really open and present in whatever you call that God essence, which is love, compassion, unity, harmony, peace, joy, understanding, whatever you call it, where do you feel in that? Where is it easiest for you to be in that presence? I want you to just, where is it easiest? And spend more time there. And where is it hardest? Where is it hardest for you to find the song of oneness? Where is it hardest for you to feel connected with all life? Where do you need to open to more compassion for yourself and for others? We need to be listening to that and spend more time there. Remembering the lamps are different, but the light is the same. If you can't see the light in yourself or somebody else or a situation, you got to look harder, you got to look deeper, you got to dive in, you got to take off those robes of judgment and those walls that keep us from the love that's ever present. There's good for all of us, good to be sung, good to be received. There's an urge for life within us. You know, it's interesting, Rumi, when he, as I said, he talked ubiquitously about love. So many books on Rumi, and you turn to any page and he's talking about love. But his love is much more than just human connection. He said true love is a universal force, the nature of the universe that is irresistible. Ernest Holmes said love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Who was channeling whom? Really? It's all about this. If we really focus on love, we're just drawn to that place of oneness. Just over 30 years ago, there was a song of oneness that was sung. And it was a #1 best-selling pop record of all time until Elton John sang Candle in the Wind. And then they were just fought for that place. But more than 40 musicians, top musicians, came together to sing a song that I'm sure we all recognize. It was a song because they knew that there are places in Africa that really needed some help. So it was a humanitarian effort to come together and sing for Africa. And it was a song written by Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie, and it was put together by Quincy Adams, and all these amazing stars came together and started singing this song. And it's called We Are the World. We are the world, we are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true. We make better days, just you and me. We're the ones that make a difference. This is the song of oneness. This song raised, now let me tell you how much it raised because it's quite impressive. This song raised a lot of money. It raised $63 million, so sold 20 million copies, and went out and did a lot of good work in the world. Actually, 25 years after that song was sung, it was again produced by 80 contemporary stars to raise money for Haiti, to come together with a common interest for common passion. So we're going to hear today a song of oneness, and my call is this song needs to be sung again. It seems like this is a time in our world where there's a lot of division, a lot of separation, a lot of things we can judge and give our strong opinions about. I heard some laughter. You know what those strong opinions are. But it's truly a time when we need to be singing, We Are the World.